she's going to provide an overview on how to create a podcast. There are supplemental resources in the back of the program from WHYY's digital studios, so please use the QR code to get more information. But for now, we're going to hear it live and direct from Trinae. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. I want to start off with a confession. The career that changed my life started with something that I thought was corny and outdated: radio. And if I'm being honest, when my mentor first suggested it, I almost ignored her. So let me take you back to 2015. Wow, that was 11 years ago. I was young, I was ambitious, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my career. So I did what a lot of us do when we're searching for direction. I went to my mentor for advice. And I said, listen, I don't know what I want to do. I'm not getting jobs in journalism. I'm having a lot of challenges. And she said to me, Trinae, you should think about radio. Radio? Isn't that old school? I want to be on TV. I want the glitz. I want the glamour. She said, no, Trinae. She insisted that I look for programs in audio. Not long after that conversation, I found myself somewhere I never expected to be, inside a prison. Florence, Arizona, a medium security prison in the middle of the desert. I had pitched a story for Next Gen Radio about incarcerated men training wild horses on a prison ranch. And I only had a few hours to get the story right. This was humbling for me. Remember, I wanted to be on TV. I wanted it to be all about me. The main part of the story was audio only, just sound. And the voice in the final story wasn't even mine. The very thing I thought was outdated and corny, audio, turned out to be an incredibly powerful tool. And that moment changed something within me. Later that year, I was sitting at a desk in this very building, working my first real job in audio. I had the privilege of working alongside one of Philadelphia's legendary voices, Marty Moscoine, with Radio Times. I was learning the craft, how to listen, how to produce conversations that served our audience, how to tell stories with sound, fact-checking, cold calling, relationship building. And around the newsroom at the time and online, people kept talking about sort of this newish format in audio, podcasting. What is a podcast? Audio on demand. You can stream it, download it, and listen wherever you want. If DJs can have a podcast, authors can have a podcast. Anybody can have a podcast. Why can't I? But what would I talk about? I wasn't a science reporter here. I didn't cover sports. I didn't write a book. I was an audio producer for WHYY's Radio Times. And so producers, we kind of had to know a little bit about everything. So I started looking around the city. And one Saturday morning, I went to the African American Museum right across the street, and there was a symposium happening. The room was filled with maybe dozens, maybe 100 Black women, scientists, midwives, illustrators, writers, creative leaders. And I had one thought: who is telling their stories? And if no one was, maybe I should. And that's what I did. I called it Sunday Conversations. But when I started a podcast, I kind of didn't know what I was doing. It definitely was not glamorous. I used used equipment. The battery compartment didn't even have a back to it. As you can see right here. I crowdsourced and asked my family and friends to help me buy a microphone and an XLR cable. I would go to the corner store in Brewery Town and ask for $1 batteries. I don't think you can get $1 batteries anymore. In my studio, it was my bathroom, a closet, wherever my children weren't making noise. And I would edit this thing at my kitchen table. That was my podcast studio. I kept putting this content out every week, but I was wondering, is anybody listening to this thing? So one afternoon, I was over at the Roberto Clemente playground with my kids, and my phone buzzes. It's a text from the same mentor who told me to get into audio in the first place. She said something like, "Hey Trinae, there's someone in Chicago and they noticed that you do podcasts. There's an opportunity in New York," and that led me to producing podcasts for the Wall Street Journal. Oh, yeah, thank you. I started off as an associate producer. I got promoted pretty quickly, and I became the leading producer for their flagship show at the time, What's News. I was the nightly producer. And by 2021, I was voicing some of the shows and audio products. These are a few examples of the shows that I was either a producer on, or I would just raise my hand to be a fill-in voice when people were on vacation. And then they said, "You know what, Trinae, we'll give you a chance." And then I started doing the midday briefs and the closing bell.